Man, boy, all I could think of was like, wow. She said, you don't think taking this type of drug and really any kind of drug, really be honest. Um, you think it's just a recreation. You don't plan for it to be your job to get high. When I heard her say that, she said, I was just trying to have a little fun, and the guy was like, well, I just did one thing. Next thing you know, it got so bad I had to inject it. I mean, dude, that's crazy, bro. What's up? I see on your brain, man. You shaking your head, man. What's
No,
up?
it's just, man, the world just a heavy thing. There's so much going on in the world right now, man. Man,
Look, get check your mic
check,
again.
check, 1, 2. Yeah, there
Yeah,
you
okay.
go.
Say it again now.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking, man, so much going in the world, how these drugs affect behaviors, man. If you got it or if you don't got it, just how people are on the edge every day.
Right. Yeah. Go ahead. I see you over there. What's up?
Well, yeah, you build up a tolerance.
You're right, right.
You build up a tolerance for that drug, and what used to work for you no longer works for you. But the reason why we have so many
Bring it a little closer to you because you have a
that's
soft
better.
voice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My voice is
Yes.
soft. I've
It's
been
so
practicing.
soft.
Right. Give
Right.
me about 3 minutes to warm up. All right.
Okay.
You're gonna be turning it down.
No, you good. Go ahead.
But we build up a tolerance. And so once you have those drugs in your system, and a lot of people die from overdoses because they stop using or they go to rehab, come out and pick up where they left off.
Wow.
And that tolerance is no longer there.
So they
So
have to rebuild. They have to
they would have to
rebuild it
rebuild
at
it
the
back
risk
up.
of them living.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Mhm.
Makes sense.
so that really does make so the DUI fact that's the DUI or overdose factor
Overdose. When
is
they get
wow.
clean and then they come back and think they can still shoot up or smoke or snort the same amount that they
Wow.
used going in, but their system is clean. They can't do that.
Wow.
hmm
Did you get that? Listen, I had never thought about that. As many as friends and family I have gone down that road and some have not, they're no longer here with me. Go ahead, bro.
It also prove a mental illness, doesn't it? That your body's clean, but your mind telling you to behave a certain way.
Well, your body and your mind is craving it because you have to think about every cell in your body has gotten used to that feeling of euphoria
Mm.
or just not wanting to feel the pain of withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people do self-medicate because of mental health issues that are untreated or they don't like how the medication makes them feel.
Mm-hmm.
But what I tell a lot of my clients or all of my clients, if you're afraid of taking medications, there's something called pharmacogenetics testing where they swab your mouth and they tell you which medications metabolize according to your DNA. So it takes the guesswork
Wow.
out of it.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Come on now. Let's put our hands together. That right there, the guess. Now, so again, so but they have to request it. Is that what
Yes.
has to happen?
Yes.
Okay,
They
talking to the
don't.
mic and explain why that is so important. Here, pull that mic.
So when you go to get any type of mental health screening or analysis, and they're recommending that you take a medication, ask your doctor or the person that's in front of you to order a pharmacogenetics test.
Wait, you moving fast.
Pharmacogenetics test.
Okay.
hmm
Genetics.
Pharmo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And it
Wow.
comes back in a couple of days, and it tells you the medications that are uh, not good for your body, that won't interact well with you, and it actually breaks it down to the receptor that it affects.
Wow.
So if you've taken medications and it made you feel really sleepy all day, you'll see, oh, this medication made me sleepy because it attached to this receptor, and I shouldn't take that. It's a really good test.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay, can you spell that? We're gonna have to put that in the chat, but
Mhm.
that is so serious
Yep.
because I have never heard of that, but that makes so much sense. It's almost like I'm a vegetarian, right? I try to really eat healthy, and so I eat according to my blood type,
Right.
and so there are specific foods, even as a person who does not eat meat, that if you eat certain type of fruits,
Mhm.
the sugar will give me a rush as if I'm eating a Snicker.
Yep.
So certain fruits and certain vegetables I got to kind of stay away from because it gets me super hype and then I crash.
Yes.
Like as if I had a Coca-Cola or if I
Yes.
had a Snicker
Yes.
and I came on here, I'll be off the chain and then I was, you know. And so yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so spell that for us because we want to put that on the screen so that because this is why we do this. Like this is information you may not have heard. I never heard this before. Go ahead, give it to us again.
Okay, so while I'm writing it, I just want to say that's why it's so important to never use anyone else's prescription.
Say that.
The same way that you said your blood type, hey, you eat this pear, is taking you out, right?
Correct.
So I might have a issue that you have. We may have the same diagnosis, but my body may not be able to metabolize your medication the way that your body does. And so it's very important that you dispose of your medications properly in
Correct.
that packet that
Let
you
me get
showed us
that
last
packet while
time.
you're talking. That's
Or
important.
that you lock up your prescriptions. There's many lock boxes on Amazon. You can go to the thrift store. A lot of different ways that you can keep your medication safe from teenagers as well, because it's been a really big fad for teenagers to have access to medications and taking them to school and just getting high in general. So pharmacogenetics, it is PHARMACOGENETICS, pharmacogenetics testing, and it can be done at your doctor's office, psychiatrist, pediatrician,
I
wherever.
wish I would have known that.
Yeah. Because there's people who have been trying to find the right medications for their whole lifetime.
Mhm.
And this has been out since 2016 in Alabama.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, that's still relatively
New.
new.
Mhm.
So up until 2016 in this state, we weren't aware of a test that could be taken.
Mhm.
This is so good. I'm telling you, man. This is wow. I'm gonna check this out.
Mhm.
Now, so she was saying, Mrs. Burks, our therapist for the day, and in fact, Wellstone is behind this. Your organization, Wellstone Inc., and it's a deactivation drug kit. Again, listen, this is why we do this. We're gonna get into. He's gonna drop some music, but I gotta give you this since we're talking about it because somebody doesn't know anything about this, right? So it's a deactivation kit. What happens is you would put your old prescriptions, some of that Mary Jane, or whatever else you got, blue, brown, red pills inside this little bag, and then there's a little looks like dirt, and you pour it inside of it. Then you put about 2 to 4 ounces, like about half of that with water. Then you seal it up. Only on my watch, right? You seal it up, and then you shake it up. And anything in here becomes biodegradable, meaning it dissolves to nothingness in that black soot. Then you take it and you throw it in the receptor, the trash can. And here's the deal. We have these, Wellstone, if you want them, Crisis Services of North Alabama. We'd love to get them to you if you are saying, especially if you have a youth group or if you're working with people in different populations, your church. I mean, listen, everybody has a vice. It might be cigarettes. I'm just saying. It might be this, cigars. It might be some simple things that when you put it in, it just goes. And to watch it go is another whole level. Because imagine what technology and God's natural science does. If it's doing this here, what is it doing in here? What is it doing in here? Man, it's killing us. All right, we're the Walking Dead, like the series. You feel me? So if you really want to find out more information, wellstone.com, wellstoneright.com. You can also hear nomoredirty.org. Professor X, why don't you go and put the email? And then also you can dial 211 on your cell phone. You know what I mean? So 21, wow. Marcina, thank you so much. This is what it is. It's crazy. She says, wow, we have to do all of this now because people are smoking, sniffing pills. Man, wow. It's true. But here's the deal. The reason why we're doing this show today is because that's just the symptoms. That's what we see, but it's the trauma. And we want you to get this stuff. Part one today is who am I without trauma or in spite of trauma? Because like it ain't gonna go, just because you say I want to be healthy, whole, and happy, life is not kind. Life circumstances not kind. They just mean.
That's right.
That ain't gonna change the fact that you broke. That ain't gonna change the fact that you had a bad breakup and you got abuse in the home and past. So this is why we're doing this. So we want you. Go ahead, brother.
And being able to identify, because we ignore some things we don't identify with.
Come on. Get a chair and pull up.
Get a chair, man. Pull up. We're going to get you get a chair and pull up after you drop this mix. Man, go to this mix, man, and pull up a chair. We're going to slide down. All three of us going to get on it.
Fred a little earlier, I may have seen you in the past before.
I know. You look familiar.
And say, listen, it's okay. Call your therapist. I got one.
I got therapists in the house, y'all.
So drop that beat, therapist on the DJ therapist. We got a therapist and then we got a DJ just therapy. You listen to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. Let's do this, man. Drop it, bro.
A lot of rappers overrated. Homie, that's an understatement. I grew up on that. Tigger in the basement. You could say I made a millionaire and cocaine and undertaking. Talking crazy, y'all son of a boy, but you know we ain't related. I was told that I'm kinda strange and I can't debate it. Either way, I'ma kill the game like it's premeditated. Like doop boy, when I'm aiming at the poop boy, put the lights to the roof boy. When you're running in your geek boy, aiming at your whole crew boy. Hey, I remember when police was in the hallway, knocking, talking, we can hear you from long range. I said I turned it down, that was till they ran away. Now I'm on my OT, talking all day. Speak now or hold your peace. Before the Lord, let my soul to sleep. And I got some goals I gotta reach. These moves you gotta see.
Tell them they don't do it like the king do. King do, homie, ain't nobody king you. King you, simmer down, boy, and get your hands off the ground, boy, now, boy. Believe me, they don't do it like the king do. King do, homie, ain't nobody king you. King you, simmer down, boy, and get your hands off the ground, boy, now, boy. Real every other day, another sucker on a record pushing dirt upon the Lord name. More money, more cars, get some more chains. It's a short thing, only way that this will go. Rich approach, shove them in the box like a board game. Fool's lottery, if you think all that property gon' fit up in that box, you play way too much Monopoly. We are just the clay, he the potter, we the pottery. If he remove his hands, we in bad shape, follow me.
Pottery. Well, you gonna go like that, bro? That's what's up. Y'all give it up for my man DJ Scissor. Hands in the building.
Y'all too kind. Thank you.
It's true though, brother. It's true. Listen, welcome back to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. Listen, we're gonna get right in because I think this is important. But let me do this. I do want to say this. Let me go over here real quick. I'm gonna ask Scissor. We're gonna do some giveaways. This is for the ladies. So that this week and next week we're doing some really cool stuff, right? And we're going to do some giveaways. Now, here's how it works. When we get to that segment, the way it will work is when you'll need to we'll put up the email info, INFO, the @nomoredirty.org. And when we put that info up, like you see it on the screen, right? What you do then at that moment is you need to put your name in and then also email us and say my name, address. I want to, and then we're going to select some winners from the emails, the Gmail. Yes, go ahead.
And I can send them a T-shirt, the Call Your Therapist T-shirt as well. So we got we're going to do 2 shirts and 4 CDs from AI. Okay. Why don't you drop a beat so they can hear what they're going to get, a little snippet of. We were at Flavor Fest 2021 and she hit the main stage, man. She is just amazing. Saved, sanctified, and got bars. I mean, so I want you to let them hear just a snippet of what this. I got the albums here. She gave us albums to give away. Here they go, right here, man. 2 sets of albums. I got 4 CDs and 2 shirts for this week, and then next week we're gonna do 4 CDs and 4 shirts. Nice. All right.
And so you can throw some of your shirts in the mix.
Absolutely.
All right. So I got 2 and you got 2. So we're gonna do some of them today. You know what I mean? So let's do that. Yeah. All right. So. Give a little mix on drops. I'm gonna make them hurt because that when I saw, I was like, and she was just killing it on the stage, and then she walked up like Queen I am, Queen I am. Check it out. Saved and got bars.
Learn something, teach something, make a stack, take that, flip that, give it back. Learn something, teach something, make a stack, take that, flip that, give it back. You don't work, don't eat, don't sleep till you get it. When you feel it, let it breathe. Preach.
You done lost your mind, son. You done lost your mind, son. So that's what we doing, right? I'm telling you now. So when I say, Professor, throw that up, y'all better get on it and send us an email and say, yo, I saw it on the session, Bible Beats and Bars, man. I want a T-shirt. And then we gonna pull it up, and whoever gets we got 6 gifts, so we got 6 young ladies that can get one. All right, so let's get in. So we have our therapist today, Miss Yashima Cherry Burks. Mrs. Y'all don't get it twisted. She's taken. A to the man.
A to the man.
To one man. Hallelujah.
That's it.
We ain't no polygamy up in here.
Not today.
So listen, we are talking about this thing. So I'm gonna turn this over to you. We're gonna chime in a little bit just to keep it going. We're gonna give you some tips. What are they gonna learn today?
Okay, well today, first of all, welcome and thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
We're doing the Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises Workshop 1 today from my book, the Workbook, Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises. Today we are discussing the myth of the strong Black woman.
Okay, myth of the strong Black woman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else?
We're going to learn how to feel our feelings.
Oh, wait. Feel our feelings?
We're going to learn how to feel our feelings.
Why is that so important? Why do I have to feel my feelings? I didn't ask for that. I just want to live and be good and take care of my family and just be the queen that I am. Come on, what's up?
Well, I'm going to tell you why. It's important for us to be able to identify how we're feeling and what it is that we need to do to get to the root of that thing if it's interrupting or interfering with our life on a day-to-day basis. So it can interfere with relationships with your children, with employee relationships, with just day-to-day living. So we want to make sure we're able to identify our feelings and break down those walls that Black women have had to put up because of the myth of being strong, so strong that we are seen as subhuman, less than. They feel like we can't feel pain. And there's actually so many studies that's been done telling and perpetuating this lie. And it's sad because a lot of us have adopted it, but we're going to reverse that thing. We're going to identify it, reverse it, and work through it today.
Okay, so let's get in on that, because that right there, man, she said subhuman. Not whole human being, but subhuman. Let's get in. Yo, that's crazy.
All right. So we're going to I just want to let you know, make sure you check in the links because you have access to our
just talk about it. They got it. Yeah, they got
our sheets that we're working on today. So you can follow along with us and do the work right along with us. You won't be left out. Make sure you do what you need to do and get in there. Okay, so we're going to get started. That is the I Am poem. That is something that we'll be getting to later as well. Welcome to the Black Girl Healing Movement, everybody.
Welcome.
I developed this companion workbook for picking up the pieces to 100 broken promises with your healing in mind. I created it in order for you to be able to identify the roots of your relationship issues, low self-esteem, trauma, fear, beliefs, behaviors, and values. This workbook will assist you in identifying who you are, what you like, your strengths, needs, and abilities. And I'll also help you set and achieve goals. These exercises are developed for you to simply identify where you are right now without posing judgment on yourself. So I want you to take the time, get into these exercises. This is just a snippet of what you can get if you purchase Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises, the workbook or the actual book.
So let me ask a question. Let's do this real quick. Where can they get your book, Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises?
This book is available at all major bookstores all over the world, internationally, but you can get it online. Most people go to Amazon. Visit my website, yearofyushima.net. That's yearofyushima.net, and you should see it in your handout. It's on the last page, my contact information, and I'll have all the links to the different places where you can find both of my books.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
All right, so let's dig in. Let's get on some of these points. So I am, who am I?
So the next slide that we're going to go to is going to look like this. List 3 things that you love about your favorite person.
Hmm.
Identify who your favorite person is. What are 3 things that you love about them? When I just said that, what came to your mind?
My mom.
Your mom.
3, you said?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. I would say my mom. I got to think about the other 2.
I was gonna ask. I don't know why deceased
You
people.
got to talk to the mic.
Yep, 3 things.
Did it include deceased people as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's the first thing.
Okay, yeah,
3
because I was
things
thinking
about-
Sister Dawes would probably be for me.
All right.
Sister Dawes, my mother, and my kids in housing. Those are my favorite. They're not
Yeah.
one person, but like I'm a big kid.
Mhm.
I love hanging out with my kids.
Yeah.
Like that's favorite people to be around.
Okay.
Little kids.
I love it too. I love to see them grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Sister?
Grandmother, auntie, and mother.
Okay. And what's something about them that you love?
The family quality. Personally, had to do with family quality. They poured into me. They took their time one-on-one to give me encouragement and discuss issues that may have been, took time that others didn't. That was really special toward me.
Yes. That quality time, they instilled that in you.
Time,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So the reason why it's important for us to be able to identify healthy relationships and positive values that we see in others is because we also need to see those same values in ourselves.
Hmm.
If I were to ask you first, give me 3 things that you love about yourself, most people hesitate. Most people try to, either numb it down, or they really have a hard time answering that question at all. In a lot of my therapy sessions, I have a lot of people who just cannot see the good in themselves.
Hmm.
And so today, I want us to be able to identify not only the good in others that we see, but also tap inward and find those good spaces, those healthy spaces within ourselves in spite of the trauma. Right.
So I do have a question, and I don't know if this might be someone else's unspoken question. How do you do that?
Well, you start with self-help books, contacting your therapist. Here's the thing, anybody who buys anything from my website, because I also do inspirational clothing.
Okay.
I have self-help guides and books and everything else. They all get a free 15-minute session with me to work through whatever it is that they'll receive.
Wow.
They'll get a free self-help tool. So the things that you're seeing right now, you'll get that with the purchase, but it will be something different every time you order something.
Wow.
You'll receive something
That's
different,
cool.
and you'll have an opportunity to process those things. So the first thing you have to be is willing to make those changes and to be able to be ready to do the work, because it's not fun.
Mm.
Healing is not fun. And I think we need to get that out there, first of all. And you need to understand the duties of your therapist. I hear a lot of people saying, I went to therapy and it didn't work. Did you do everything that you discussed with your therapist? Did you follow the plan? Right? Were you ready to do it? It's like and then you could just have a situation where the therapist may not have been the one for you. You didn't gel. So you have to seek it out. We'll seek out dating people faster than we will, something for our mental health or our doctors. We have to put that same energy and that same effort into finding the right therapist as we do when we seek romantic relationships.
I know we're going to get there because I know we got a lot to cover, but I think what you said was so deep. How we are so anxious and we will do anything to be with someone and not by ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, we're with ourselves and by ourselves going through so much trauma, and we'd rather stay with Mr. Trauma or Miss Trauma than saying, let me reach out and get some help so that I can break this terrible toxic relationship with Mr. or Miss Trauma.
Mm. Yeah. And what you'll find is either they'll step up their game or they'll separate from you.
Wow.
They're not going to be able to stay with you in that process of healing, or they'll try to sabotage you so that you won't get to a level where they don't want to aspire to be. So,
wow. Okay. Okay. See, this is why we're doing this. I know this is a little different, but listen, we're going into the holidays, and there's a lot of us that may be with someone, may not be with someone. Go ahead.
Think about success the same way as those relationships, because people will sabotage your success.
oh, yes.
Oh my goodness, you're
Oh,
right.
yes. Absolutely.
With
And-
those same
Same
intentions,
issues.
yeah.
Absolutely. Because they're afraid of what your power would do to them or how it would make them look less than. But I'm a firm believer in what's for me is for me.
You know what? I'll say that again because I'm going somewhere as an intro to the myths about Black women. Say it again.
What's for me is for me.
Why is that such a powerful declaration or statement? Why?
Because no matter what it is that happens to me, if God ordained it, it's going to work out to my greater good and to glorify Him. Whatever that looks like in the flesh, it always turns out bigger and better than what I could have imagined,
Even in spite of my trauma.
in spite of it. Absolutely.
Okay, so this is and the reason this is so important. We doing this, and we started with the ladies because first of all, the greatest gift to mankind is a woman. I believe that.
I believe that too.
Of course. I mean,
Absolutely.
no, I'm serious because think about it. No one got here without coming through the womb.
That's right.
Nobody.
Nobody.
Even if it's C-section or you know what I'm saying, you got to get through. You got to go through this process to get where you got to go. Go
I
ahead, bro.
always thought the woman was the closest thing to God.
I really, and I think it's important, and I'm so glad you're here with us, Mrs. Berg, because at the end of the day, for us men, and we're in December, we're going to tackle it from the men's perspective. But I really wanted to be this to be such an encouragement this Saturday and next Saturday, because listen, I don't know what you ladies are going through, and there are a lot, and there's so much pressure on women of color, Black women and brown women of color. There's so much pressure that if you crumble to it, the myths that she's going to share with us will become a walking, living reality. And you'll miss that chocolate and that brown, that caramel, and whatever. You'll miss us.
Yes.
Because you're trapped in this, I can't get better, or all men are like, or, this. I don't know what it is. But thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Like, really, thank you.
Thank you.
Because, man, I'm just saying, I loved it. When I see a sister just doing it like yourself and others, we have executive, like our executive deputy director in housing. She just a beast. Just come in, dress, handling business. Just, I mean, it's something about a sister that handles her business and knows who she is and is not predicted or controlled by myths, stereotypes. So thank you. And I think it's important. You know what I'm saying, Senator? Because we are looking for a queen.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to do any side chick, queen, because I know I'm a king. Now, if I don't know if I'm a king, which we're going to tackle in December, you got issues. Go ahead, Scissor.
And then that's the thing. What if you're not looking for a queen? You don't know how to accept a queen or something. We need those examples in our community.
Correct.
Because I believe the female figure is the head of the community.
Right. It has become. It should have been the man in some spaces, but I think because God told Adam, Luke, He gave Adam dominion and then gave the queen as a partner in life to keep the dominion in space and in place.
It
Right.
might say something about us men as well. You
It
know?
does, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's powerful what you said. So let's get in on the myth of the strong black woman, because we need help. And our sisters, we love you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So one thing that I want us to discover or tackle is the fact that we are created to be soft beings, right? We can be soft and strong simultaneously. We don't have to be one or the other. We are very complicated beings. And so when we adopt or adapt to something that was placed on us or in us, it's not who we truly are. And we're not really walking in our purpose because we have adapted and adopted something that was not true. And it's destroying our community. So when we go to the myth of the strong black woman, we'll see where it says, in a climate where we are expected to be anything but our authentic selves, we must first learn who we are in order to move forward in self-love.
Wow.
So part of breaking down these myths is to discover who you are. Who are you? Who are you without the stereotypes? Who are you without the trauma that has defined you so far? Who are you? Historically, the societal expectation of Black women and girls has been that we are subhuman. This ideology has been framed in the narrative that we are so strong, stronger than any man or beast that walks the earth, that we don't need to be protected, loved, cherished, respected, supported, understood, treated with kindness, empathy, and love from others. This disparaging belief has forced many of us to ignore our own pain, adopt a societal norm, and push through it all. We are so much more than our strengths, right? We are so much more than our strengths and what the world places upon us. I've never seen any other woman in any other race be as policed as Black women.
Wow.
As disrespected, as picked apart. But on the flip side, I've never seen any other woman emulated.
All right.
Wow.
They try to replicate us
Yeah.
and degrade us at the same time.
Right.
Wow.
Pick a side.
Right.
Come on.
Right?
Come on.
Pick a side. So we need to see our greatness. Everybody else already does.
And
Right?
is intimidated
Absolutely.
by the beauty of the greatness.
The natural beauty.
Yes.
The natural beauty of our greatness.
And they athletes too, the female athletes.
Yeah.
Out here
I was
dominating.
thinking about that. So as I was just reading that, I was thinking about our female athletes who have been demonized and criticized unlike anyone else. And there are several people that we could absolutely put out here and not degrade, but call out on their actions that did way worse things than they did. So we just have to be mindful within ourselves what we speak and how we view ourselves and have more empathy for each other, right? All right, so the first exercise we're going to do under the myth of the strong Black woman is, how would you describe yourself? How would you describe yourself? We know what society thinks about us. We know that they call us ratchet, but guess what? There's more educated Black women in the nation than any other race or gender.
Okay, wait. Okay. Are y'all getting this? Are you all getting this? In the world, when it comes to race, and let me just say, I'm a firm believer that there's one human race, though politically we say races. I think there's cultures and ethnicities. But for the sake of the conversation, the Black woman is and has always been.
Well, recently.
That's
the most
amazing. Most educated
woman or most educated person or group of people in the nation. And they try everything they do to dismantle that fact. And I think that's the reason why they're not really trying to get rid of our student loans, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think if it was, because if it was more white men with their student loan debt like we have, it would be cleared and wiped out. You feel me? That's one way we can know it's more of us. Because they're not trying to help us.
And I
that's
think
just my theory.
No, but you know, that's powerful because you know, it's the same thing when you look at all of the situations. We just saw the case with this white kid just got off free.
Oh, child, he was practicing that crime.
I mean, crying and
He was-
boohooing and
he
all of
did
this stuff.
everything he
I
could.
wish a brother would cry. They'd be like, and how many more years you want?
Right. For crying. For wetting the handcuffs. You're going to get
I mean,
yeah.
so
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. And I'm saying that from strictly a need to know fact.
Mhm.
Black women, you are the most amazing God created creatures on the face of the world.
You are. You
And
are.
you need to know that.
Yep.
And the reason why we want to do this is because if you don't know that, you won't know how to respect yourself or a black man, let alone any other man in mankind, as in humankind.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can I throw this one up for the
go ahead.
ladies before we?
Mhm.
It just didn't all start with slavery either. We
Oh.
had female kings,
Come
and
on.
Queen.
ancient,
Mhm.
ancestors.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. You know what?
Absolutely. Our history did not start with colonization of our people.
Huh.
It did not. Yes, Marcina, we do work hard for it. Yes, we do. And it's really something that we need to recognize within ourselves. And we fight a lot for every single thing. Just common, yes, just common everyday respect. We have to fight for it. And so I want us to get into a place where we respect ourselves
Mm-hmm.
and we respect each other. Because I think we've adopted a lot of the Eurocentric feminism bullcrap that's out here that they don't even follow, right? Which is
Right.
dismantling our homes and is skewing the way that we perceive ourselves and the value system that we should have in place to find a good partner. But before we try to find a good partner, we need to learn how to date ourselves. Would you date yourself?
Oh. Woo! Did
Would you
say
date yourself?
that? That's real right there.
I mean, could you handle the expectations that you place on other people to deal with what you're giving, right?
Mm.
And if you cannot do that, if you wouldn't date a direct clone of yourself, you have some work to do.
Okay.
You have some work to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to write our own narrative today. Our stories had been written for us for hundreds of years now,
455.
and they're not true.
None of them.
The way that we have been perceived, the way that they teach our children about us, is lies. And I find myself unteaching and my children unlearning every day when they come home from school. So it starts with the parents. We have to know who we are and we have to create our own story. And so we're going to use adjectives to describe ourselves.
Okay.
And these adjectives are not going to include the word strong. We know we're strong.
Okay. So this is an exercise that the ladies are gonna do, and guys, you listening with your boo, and you take note because
Support that woman.
Support, yeah, and support the beauty of a black woman in general. Okay, so let's do that. That's pretty good because I think that will help our sisters say, okay, this is some working points.
Yes. So
yeah, go ahead. I'm good.
One thing we're going to learn how to do is to feel your feelings. We're going to identify an issue that you're struggling with, something that's on your mind, something that is bothering you. And we're going to pick that thing apart and work through it. And what we're doing is learning how to problem solve, right? Because we'll allow things to fester in our spirit, in our soul, and we'll take those things out on other people. It's equivalent to having a cut and you're bleeding on everybody else around you, right? So let's mend that. Let's clean it. Let's mend it. And let's get it to a place to where you can be feminine, ladylike, and kind, like Marcina said. Yes, that's right. Come on. That's right. Go on and bring it. All right. So hopefully you have your handout and it's in Google Docs, so you don't have to print anything. You can just fill it out right there. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is identify how you're really feeling. Take this time, accept the permission to tap into your emotional state. Oh no, this is still in the regular Google Docs. Yeah, they should have. Take this time to identify how you feel about the main issue that's affecting you in your daily life right now. Psychology shows that writing things down helps to alleviate the stressors and emotional states connected to that issue. It allows your brain to clarify the matter and process how to move forward, whether that be making the necessary changes or accepting the things that you cannot change. Take deep breaths, pause, sit quietly, and write whatever comes to your mind. So take some time to identify an issue that's really been bothering you, that's in your heart. The first thing that came to mind, what is it? Write that down. Let it be the main thing. And if you have more than one thing, jot them down. Jot them down. Take this time. Jot them down. Okay, so let's get to it. Choose one of those things. Choose one of those things. What is it that you would like to change? The key is to make sure that you have access to change that thing, because we cannot change other people. We can only change ourselves, our reactions, and our own behaviors. How do you feel about this situation when you think about it right now? What parts of your body is it affecting? Does it make your stomach turn? Does it make you angry or sad? What emotion is connected to this thought? They did a study about how stress affects our body and our health, right? And they found that people who have a lot of stress or a lot of trauma that they have not worked through, do you know that that thing turns into cancer cells? Mm. And it's because your body can't recognize the endorphins, the neurotransmitters that's released from the stress. And that's all that cancer is. It's an unidentified illness in your body.
Mm. You know what? That's interesting. You said that. I was thinking about. I was looking at the camera, looking at the folk and the camera, and I was seeing, you know, just the faces of like the wow factor. Mm-hmm. Like, you mean to tell me, and that's exactly what we're sharing, mm-hmm. that unresolved emotions, feelings, things like this mm-hmm. can impact a person, in this case, our young ladies, our queens, in such a way that it goes from that to stress, to bacteria, to a knot, to a clot, to mm-hmm. a growth, to now I have to go see a doctor, to mm-hmm. Lord have mercy. They say it might be a palate, it might be a cancer mm-hmm. bulb, it might, you know, and it's all because we didn't see ourselves as queens mm-hmm. in the midst of a storm or a trauma situation.
Right. And we didn't do the work yet. Now,
and we didn't do the work.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not victim blaming. I'm not.
Correct.
Some cases are unrelated. Some Correct. People get cancer for other reasons, but this is just a factor that I want you to consider. And it's so much better for me personally to know that I have control over some of these things, especially when we feel so helpless in a world where it was created to be everything except helpful to us, right? In a society that's against us. So, good. Let's get to the next part of it.
Okay. And thanks for sharing this. I think this is info. I'm a guy and I'm checking this like, okay, I can't wait till our time comes.
Oh, yes. I'm getting y'all. Y'all gonna get it. Okay, so it's time to decide whether you're going to identify, change, or accept that situation that you wrote down before. What you going to do with it? There'll be things that you can change, and there'll be things that you need to accept in order to find peace. Things to consider. What were the circumstances surrounding that situation? Did you recover quickly from your emotions? How often do you feel this emotion? When was the first time that you felt this way? What was that situation? So in my workbook, I recommend that you take 7 days. This is actually a 7-day process. I'm just giving you a snippet, a blink, right? This is actually a 7-day process that I have in my workbook for you to actually work through some of those traumas and identify the root causes for that, okay? If it's a situation outside of your control, such as how someone else is behaving Remember, you can't change anyone else. But if it's about how someone is treating you, you have the power to identify healthy boundaries. You have the ability to change the way that you interact with them, okay? And choose how you share your space with them. If it's an issue with one of the 8 dimensions of wellness, you have the power to change these things. Physical wellness, intellectual, emotional, social, spiritual, vocational, financial, and environmental wellness. Those are things that you can tap into and change yourself. And I have a workshop on these too, so make sure you contact me for that.
Let me jump in real quick. I am very appreciative of you, those 3 elements. You have identify, you have change, and you have accept. And you said, and I love how you explained those, the 3 different, avenues of those, the 3 different ways to address it. My question would be in this, and I'm just saying this as a guy, but I'm quite sure somebody else is thinking, a young lady's thinking, why is it so important to know whether it's identifying versus change or versus an accepting? And how do you distinguish that?
If it's outside of your locus of control, you can't do anything about it. So worrying about it is not going to change it.
Okay.
Like God said, can you worry and grow an inch of hair on your head? Can you grow a foot or an inch taller? You cannot, right? So when we waste our time and energy, our mental capacity on things that we cannot change, it just causes more undue stress.
Okay.
You can make decisions on what you're going to do with that. And that just gives you back the power. That's just empowering you to take control of your life when you do decide, hey, it's nothing I can do about that right now. Let me move on to something I can change. That's how you become productive, because we can get stuck in feelings.
And I think that goes back to your initial statement, is that Black women and Black girls, they not only rock and have magical power, but they're strong because of who you all are.
Exactly.
Not because of how you do it, the fact that you were created, God created you to be strong in the nature and authenticity of a woman, female gender. It is what it is. Whether you're choosing something healthy or not, you're still a strong, God-created woman.
And we're a prototype.
Come on.
We've always been the prototype. Since the beginning of time, we've been a prototype. And that is why we have masses of all races and creeds and sexes following everything that we do.
And I think that's I know we got 2 more points, but I think that's important, because if you look at the other gender, LGBTQ and others, everybody wants to be and be able to have the reproductive process like a woman. Now, guys, we don't quite have all the mechanics that everybody else, so it's a little bit easier to try and emulate in that sense, even though that doesn't work. But you all are so intricately created and fearfully, wonderfully made that it's profound. A woman is profound.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only women, y'all got to know, you all are the only one that could have a brother twisted. Period. They can take the world out. You ain't gonna do this to me. And then I don't know why she's not happy. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go drink. I'm gonna go. We will go. We will tackle the world, tackle racism, tackle everything else. And if it ain't right with your boo, something wrong.
Yeah,
it's gotta be me. I don't know what, you know what I'm saying. And and that in itself is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our family.
Because with Adam was like, just stay keep your eye on your girl, stay close. That's all I need you to do.
Let me tell you something. Adam was with Eve when she bit that apple. Yeah. That's what I need y'all to remember. Yeah. They don't teach that in the church. Right. They act like Eve just slithered away and bit this apple. They said the man that was with her, right? He was behind her. So what we need to do is together go against the enemy and stop blaming each other for the things that we do, for the things that happen. So when we stand together, we are so much stronger. There's nothing more beautiful than a couple or just
black love.
Just black love in general, even if it's just friendship, even if it's business, whatever it is, when we work together, we are so strong. And that's why There's such an agenda to make sure you don't know your power, to make sure you can't tap into your power and keep this foolishness in front of you to keep you distracted, right? But what if you healed?
Come on.
What if you healed?
It's so good, right?
I are and who you were created to be. What if? What does that feel like? It's a different world, I'm telling you, because I've been there. I had to do it because I was dying, literally. I was dying. And so I'm not coming to you as just a therapist. I wrote this book for myself too.
Right now. All right.
You know, a lot of things. Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. It's a lot of things that I've had to overcome in my personal life. I have a son in a facility that tried to murder me, right? Who tried to murder me for several years. And it wasn't until he finally confessed to the police that last time that I'm not stopping until I do it, because this is what the voices is telling me to do, right? So there was no peace in my home for 9 years, you know. So when I tell you something, I'm not telling you something just as a therapist out of something I read in a book.
Wow. I want you to speak to the crowd. This is the last one. We're going to have some main cam. And I want you to, I know we got one more point, couple points, but I just think this is like so important. Like, what was it for you? And then we're going to come back to that, the last 2 points, that you said enough is enough. Because remember, we're talking about when you realize what was it that helped you to say to yourself, I need to be me without this 9-year drama, trauma, abuse, dysfunctionality. What was it? Because there's somebody's listening that's just turned in, been checking, responding, and they're like, I hear you. I hear you, Mrs. Burks.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it for you? Maybe you can help me be motivated.
When it was, when I started to accept and adopt the lie of the enemy that my family would be better off without me. When I started contemplating ways to die, because the pain was so heavy and it was so much, and I had not yet applied the word of God to my life in a practical sense. So when I wrote the book, I was writing to myself. I was writing myself out of depression. I was praying myself out of the trauma that I had experienced. I was also researching and going to therapy. I was also helping other people simultaneously. And that's the gift about Black women.
Come on.
Nobody knew. Nobody knew. I was still a beast in these streets, helping people and dying.
Wow.
I was setting myself on fire to keep other people warm, and nobody cared. So I had to make a decision. I'm either going to save myself, or I'm not going to be here next year. Wow. And that was it. And so that was my turning point. Everybody has a rock bottom, but you don't have to always get to that rock bottom to start making changes. And you don't have to wait to feel motivated. Sometimes you have to do the action before the motivation comes. You're not going to feel like doing the work. Who feels like doing the work? Nobody, right? You just have to do it anyway, in spite of yourself, in spite of the trauma. So who do you think you are? Right, we're about to wrap up in a minute. Who do you think you are?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to wait to discover who you are. Guess why? Because you can create who you are and become who you want to be. And that was something that I recognized. I don't have to be in this space of pain, hurt, trauma, guilt, shame. I needed to do something. I needed to do something different because what I was doing wasn't working for me. Right? So when you identify what it is that you want to change, you make an action plan and you start to do those things, and your life would change and transform drastically. I lost 130 pounds in 1 year. Wow. Do you know that stress, you know that trauma, pain that you hold on to, that thing is heavy. It's heavy. And I was self-medicating. I didn't use drugs, but I used other unhealthy things. And it wasn't even always about my food, because stress holds on to cortisol.
Now, what is that?
Cortisol is something that helps you to get rid of the insulin, or, process the insulin that's in your body. And if you can't get rid of that, you hold on to the weight, right? You can't burn fat. So I was in so much pain that no matter what I did, I wasn't losing weight. I was unhealthy and I was unhappy. So when I ask you this question, who do you think you are? I want you to think about all of those things that were placed into you that you wanted to be before the trauma. Okay? Usually when women are asked this question, we define ourselves by roles in our families. We talk about our jobs, our education, our relationship status, and other external identifiers. These things are all pieces of you. I want you to think about who you are in your core, in your spirit, who you were created to be. Let's look at Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman poem to get inspiration so we can do our own exercise, okay? And it's actually a video that we're just going to listen to.
Is it clickable for video? Yeah, he's working.
He's doing it.
I think this is important too, to know that you're phenomenal.
Thank you. You're phenomenal too. What's the male word?
I'm good.
Phenomenal.
I don't know about that.
Many people wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. When I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist, the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palms of my hands, the need for my care. Because I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. All you women and me.
Yes. Are you women?
Woo!
Yes. Give it up for Maya. She brings the heat. You hear me? Listen to that. Listen to that. And I want you to describe yourself in the same way with that I am poem that you're about to fill out. Okay, so that is the one that we are going to go to next. And if you click on it, it'll take you to it. And for you all, you have the link in the description box. You'll be able to access the I am prompt, right? It'll say I am picking up the pieces to 100 broken promises. And you'll be able to fill that out as well. Thank you. Thank you for posting that. So we're going to wrap up in the next few minutes. Let me just go over this last exercise with you, okay? I am. Give 2 special characteristics about yourself. Okay, so I am. So for me, I put I am healthy and whole. I wonder. Go to something that you wonder about.
You gonna put it in there?
Thank you. All right. What's something that you wonder about? I wonder, personally, what it feels like to fly and swim without being afraid. Because I am terrified of both, right? So what is something that you're curious about or something that you've always wanted to do? I hear. What's a sound that comes to your mind? Me, when my head's on my pillow and I shut the world out, I hear Yah, my God, telling me to trust him. No matter how bad my day was, tells me to just trust him. Okay? I see. What is it that you see? What was the first thing that came to your mind when I said, I see? I see my snaggletooth son smiling at me. He missing all his teeth, child. He's in that awkward stage where he got like one adult tooth and all the rest gone because they have to grow in. So that's what I see. You know, but what is it that you see? What's something vivid that comes to your mind? I am. Then you put the first line of the poem, right? So I am healthy and whole, because we go back to the first one.
Mm.
I pretend. What is it that you pretend doing? Without any restrictions, what is it that you can see yourself doing? For me, I pretend that I cannot feel pain. So I dance on injured legs, and I breathe through burning lungs, and I run, and I never get tired. These are things to look forward to when you go to heaven. I remember my dad saying, you're going to get a new body.
Mm.
I tore both of my ACLs. So I'm definitely going to need God to hook me up. Because I'm not going to Forrest Gump and wear these leg braces around here is what we not going to do. All right. All right. So I feel. What's a strong emotion that you feel?
Mm.
I feel ready to feel again. Sometimes we can become numb to what's going on around us, and that's just a defense mechanism. It's not that you don't want to feel, but your body and your mind and your heart's protecting you from the pain that you felt in the past. So I'm ready to feel again. I touch. An imaginary sensation. Use descriptive words. I touch the dreams of my littles, making them soft enough for him to land safely in my arms as I caress his soft brown face with my warm cheek to his. That is what I feel when I touch. I worry. What's something that bothers you? Remember that issue we talked about earlier? Don't write that. What's something else that bothers you? Something different. I worry that sometimes I'm not enough, and at other times that I'm too much. And the fear of not knowing which is right.
Wow.
I cry. What's something that makes you cry? What's something that makes you sad? For me, it's just seeing my students struggle with ADHD that's untreated and seeing them want to learn and want to retain that information and they just can't do it. It's heartbreaking. And not being able to convince the parents of some of them to get them the help that they need because they don't understand and they don't see them in that space, right? I smile. What's something that makes you happy? I smile when I see the joy in the eyes of people who have forgotten what happiness looks like. That makes me so happy. And that's why I love working and doing the things that I'm doing. I am. Repeat the first line. I am happy or I'm healthy and whole. Okay? I understand. Write something that you know to be true. I understand that life is full of highs and lows, but the key is to remain in perfect peace within the will of God. I speak something that you believe. I speak life into that little girl that needs to be loved, nurtured, and protected. And we're going to get into that next week, healing the little girl inside, okay? I dream. What's something that you dream about? I dream about a life without sin and all of the pain that comes along with it. I will. What's something that you know you will accomplish? I will continue to help victims heal from the trauma of abuse. I hope. What's something that you hope for? I hope that every person within earshot of my voice accepts the freedom to heal. I am. Repeat the first line of the poem. I am healthy and whole.
Wow.
Take your
Wow.
time and do it.
What inspired you as we do the wrap up here? Because we do a thing called God's Mailbox, and Sis will share a little bit about that. But this is so powerful. I am just listening when you said, I hope. And it's so encouraging because at some point we have to make a decision to hope for whatever it is, which is the better.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say thank you for helping us to identify those statements. Like you had some statements I have never asked myself in my entire life as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Good, bad, indifferent, and or ugly. If we would just ask ourselves these questions, or at least like you said, and I love it, you were like, now breathe. All right. We so hustle, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And then we're fussing and arguing with our sisters and our brothers. And all you need is another person from another culture to come in and be like, I understand.
Yeah.
And they don't know us from Adam.
Absolutely.
They don't know our culture. They just know they watched and said, I know what she needs. He needs.
Mm-hmm.
She's broke. Make sure I keep the money right. This, that. But there's no connection.
The lack of understanding.
It is.
And I've had that happen with a supervisor who is also a therapist. We were having a conversation. I think I had to call off work the day before. It was one of the days my son set the house on fire. You need to read my book, y'all. Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises.
Put that up there. It says, Professor.
So this is my actual, my other book, my first book. This tells my story. Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken
This
Promises.
one right there. That's one.
This one tells my story, right? And the workbook tells you how to heal from the trauma, from different issues that you may go through, like me. Okay, so it was one of those days I had to call out and nobody knew what was going on. So she came into my office and I explained to her. And she she thought she was being helpful. She said, well, just call the police and let them know that you have a violent son in your home. I said, that's not going to work for me. They're not going to react the same way.
Right.
So my little chocolate boy, even though he milk chocolate, they're not going to act or treat him the same way that they may treat your child. And she got offended, mad,
wow,
PO'd, because her son is a police officer.
Oh, okay.
And she took that personally because she is unable to see the world through any other lens than her own. And as Black women, we have to be conscientious about how everybody accepts, receives, and sees the world around us. So we're able to be more empathetic and understanding and knowledgeable because we've been trained and taught that we need to know how to act and behave in the presence of mixed company, right? But when you feel like you don't have to do that or try to understand what someone else has gone through or is going through, you lack that understanding and that empathy. And it's sad because we're in a helping profession and it's so many situations like this where it's just a lack of understanding in a professional setting. And so we have to be culturally competent. However, the people that teach these cultural classes are white women.
That's right. That's right.
And that always trips me out. Like, what can you bring? And I'm not saying that you can't bring the knowledge that you've read, right? But if you can't get it from the flip side, the receiving end, you don't really know, because even in trying to be helpful, those trainings that I've gone to, it's still been very damaging because they still have that underlying bias and that racism that tends to seep and peekaboo itself out because of their experiences and their own biases. So we just need to find someone that's knowledgeable, that can understand who we are now. There's some good white therapists out there. I've had one, I work with some. You just have to find what works for you. All right. So today we wrote our own narrative.
Come on.
Today we identified the ways that Black women have accepted, unfortunately, the challenge of being the strongest person in the world, right? That is not our job. That's not for us. The myth of the strong Black woman, we need to expose that. We need to keep this going, keep the conversations coming. If you would like to have a one-on-one group setting like tonight with your friends on Zoom, email me, give me a call. That's right. That strong Black woman myth, it needs to be kicked to the ground. It needs to kick rocks. Yes.
Rock.
All right. So we also discussed how to feel our feelings by just going through one issue, and later that is beyond you. There's nothing in this world that is beneath you. There is no one that is superior over you. You are inferior to none. Remember that. Join our Black Girl Movement by texting WORTHY to 866-875-9249. You will receive a free workbook, self-help tools, my book, t-shirts, whatever. Go ahead and sign up today. You can email me, go to my website, yearofyoushima.net. And I just want to thank you at No More Dirty, Minister Fred, and I want to thank you, SZA, and our tech specialists for dealing with me today. And I just thank you all for coming in and for being here and for joining us live.
That's what I'm talking about. Woo!
Thank you. Be happy, healthy, whole.
Yeah, so we want to, we do, I'm going to ask SZA to kind of just share about the God's mailbox, and then I'll pull out the identifying pieces. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, God's mailbox, man. We like that now. The Sister Dawson one more time. There's somebody we won't forget, and
Yeah.
I never want that taste of that name leave my mouth. But Sister Voss has brought us forth the God's mailbox. I'm pretty sure you heard of it by now. But in those who haven't, what you do, like the therapist said today, how it's therapeutic to write down what you have on your mind. But this time we're gonna write it to God. You know what I'm saying? There's no improper way to do it. It just come with your heart. You know, whatever misspelled words, whatever it is, you don't even have to make a complete sentence. Just know that God is on the receiving end of these things. No one has to get in your business. Read what you have. You tear that thing up as soon as you put it down. Nobody knows it. You got it off your conscience. You put it to the Lord. And what we do, we burn them up. You know, that's symbolic there of God receiving what we wrote in the message. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like an email, Gmail, whatever you got. Send it, man. Digitize it, whatever you have to do. Just make sure you get it off yourself so you can let in what you've been missing to make you complete.
And it's powerful, man. Thank you, SZA. And as SZA plays this song, we're gonna just give you a few minutes. And we do this every week, and then we're gonna close with a prayer of thanksgiving, and then our announcements. And then next week we'll do this again. Now what we'll do, because it is Thanksgiving, and I know we may not have a lot of people, so we're gonna focus virtually, and so you get all the same, just like here. And we want to make sure you have good times and spend some time. And if there's someone that's not gonna have really has nowhere to go, just send us an email at info@nomoredirty.org, and we'll make sure you have a place where you can fellowship, Thanksgiving, but you got to send us some so we can know how to help you. Okay. So yes, go ahead.
For everyone who showed up today, it's good that you said that, because you don't want anybody to read what you write. For my students who have people in their homes, they don't want to journal. So I bought them an invisible pen.
Oh, wow.
And so this writes, but you can't read what you've written unless you have this UV light, which is actually at the tip of the pen. So you can't read, and no one can get your journal. No one can read what you have.
Wow.
If you want one of these, email me hello@yearofyoushima.net. If you would like an invisible pen, email me hello@yearofyoushima.net if you have an issue with having privacy in your home.
That's awesome. So we want you to check out this song. We're going to write our prayers, our thoughts out to God. We're going to be right back with our giveaways.
Presence of the Lord is here.
feel it in the atmosphere. Presence of the Lord is here. Oh, presence of the Lord is here. Spirit of the Lord is here. Anybody feel it tonight? Spirit of the Lord is here. I feel it in the atmosphere. The Spirit of the Lord is here. Oh, the Spirit of the Lord is here. The power of the Lord is here. The power of the Lord is here. I feel it in the atmosphere. The power of the Lord is here. The power of the Lord is here. Put your hands together. Make some noise if you feel His presence. Come on, do you feel it? Hallelujah. Let's sing it. The presence of the Lord. Feel it in the atmosphere. The presence of the Lord. We're gonna take it up. We're gonna take it up. Put your hands, everybody. The Spirit of the Lord is here. Spirit of the Lord is here. I feel it in the atmosphere.